In my first year of trying to create content on LinkedIn, I somehow managed to reach 25,000 people, over 9 million impressions, and even managed to make money through partnerships. So it's been a crazy year, and I want to share as much information as I can. So if you're an aspiring creator on LinkedIn, you can hopefully do the same. So let's jump right in. I'm going to break it down to three key things, probably the three most important things that I learned. And the first thing is trying to provide an inside scoop. So I try to avoid a lot of what I see on LinkedIn, which is most people are celebrating themselves and sharing their wins. What I focused on was providing an inside scoop or behind the curtains view into how I was accomplishing those things. So, how I landed an interview, what kind of resume template I was using, how I was preparing for my interviews themselves, how I was reaching out for LinkedIn connections to maybe get a referral, just anything that was related to the job application journey. I made sure I broke it down step by step and made it very clear how I was actually accomplishing things. And I think people resonated with that and found it very valuable. So the main thing here is I wanted people to feel like they got the behind the curtains view into my journey as a professional and not just the highlight reels. The second most important thing for me was the direct messages I was getting. I went into my DMs for inspiration, and this is probably just the craziest thing I realized. When I went into DMs and pulled the most common questions I was getting and created content around that, the performance was amazing. I would get a lot of engagement, a lot of impressions. But when I try to be creative sometimes and come up with ideas of what I thought people would want, I noticed that there was not much traction on those posts. So it's similar to building product, building things that people want. I think actually looking at your direct messages and looking at the conversations you have and what people are asking you about and focusing on that probably helps. Yeah, so most of the posts that succeeded were literally me answering the most common questions I was getting in my direct messages. So number three is I focused on comments. Like any platform, engagement matters, and comments are important on all social media platforms, but specifically on LinkedIn, I felt like it was the best way to grow. So how did I drive more comments? First, I just provided as much value as possible in my posts and offered a deeper resource, such as a detailed doc, a guide, or maybe a template that people could find even more valuable. But I only shared it with people who commented or engaged with the content. It takes just a couple of seconds for my audience to drop a comment, and it could be literally 2 letters like PM, but in return they would get a lot of value back. So using this method, I've had single posts reach 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, and in one case 6 million impressions on LinkedIn. And so after about 6 months of following these three best practices, a few posts went viral and the growth snowballed from there. I honestly believe these are probably the most important things to think about when trying to build your brand and create content on LinkedIn. If you're early in your LinkedIn journey, I hope my tips are useful to you. Make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my channel here on YouTube for more tech, product management, and LinkedIn tips, and I'll see you in the next video.